The mirror never lies, they say. It reflects back exactly what is there, without bias, without filter. But for me, that rule was broken on a night I will never forget. A night when the world of reflections became something darker, something alive, something wrong. I moved into the apartment about 6 months ago. It wasn't fancy, but it had charm. The kind of charm that whispered, "You'll feel at home here, eventually." The bathroom was small, with cracked white tiles and an old mirror bolted above the sink. The glass had a strange texture, slightly wavy, almost like ripples frozen in time. I figured it added to the place's character. I didn't know that mirror would become the centerpiece of my nightmares. It started subtly, in ways you could explain away if you weren't paying attention. I'd wake up in the morning and notice smudges on the glass, fingerprints smeared across the surface. But I lived alone. The first time, I chalked it up to forgetting I'd touched it while cleaning. But when it happened again, the prints were wrong. The fingers were too long, too thin, almost spindly. My hands didn't match them, no matter how hard I tried to convince myself otherwise. The more I stared at the mirror, the less it seemed to like me. I know that sounds ridiculous, but the reflection wasn't passive like it should be. It felt like it was watching me back, with a sharpness, a focus. Sometimes when I was shaving or brushing my teeth, I'd catch my reflection lagging behind, just a fraction of a second, just long enough for my brain to stutter and my heart to clench. I convinced myself it was my imagination, but deep down, I knew. One night, everything unraveled. I was in bed, scrolling on my phone, when I heard it. A faint, wet sound, like something dragging across a slick surface. My apartment was silent otherwise, so it was impossible to miss. It came from the bathroom. At first, I thought it was a leaky pipe. I got up, grabbed my phone for light, and padded toward the noise. As I entered the bathroom, the sound stopped. Everything was perfectly still. The only light came from my phone, casting an eerie glow across the room. The mirror caught the light, and I swear I saw movement within it like ripples on water. I leaned closer, my breath fogging the glass. My reflection stared back, hollow-eyed, gaunt, but it wasn't just a reflection, it was wrong. My reflection's lips twitched upward into a slow, deliberate smile. My face wasn't smiling. I stumbled back, heart pounding, but I didn't scream. I couldn't. The air was too thick, too heavy, like I was drowning in silence. The mirror's surface began to distort, rippling outward as though it were liquid. A hand, thin, pale, and dripping with a black tar-like substance, pressed against the other side of the glass. It didn't shatter, it stretched. The hand pushed through, fingers curling and clawing at the air. I ran. For weeks I avoided the bathroom as much as I could. I showered at the gym, brushed my teeth in the kitchen sink and kept the door tightly shut. But the mirror didn't need me to come to it. It came to me. Every night, just as I was about to drift off, I'd hear it. That same wet dragging sound. It got louder, closer, until it felt like it was coming from inside my head. One night, I woke up to find smudges on the inside of my bedroom window. The same long, spindly fingerprints. That was when I knew it was no longer confined to the bathroom. I tried to get rid of the mirror. God knows I tried. I took it off the wall and smashed it with a hammer, but instead of breaking, the surface rippled and absorbed the blow. I tried throwing it out, but every time I'd find it back in the bathroom, hanging perfectly on the wall, mocking me. Its surface grew darker, more distorted, as if something on the other side was pushing closer, closer. The final straw came last week. I woke up in the middle of the night, the air heavy and cold. My bedroom door was ajar, even though I always closed it. In the dim light from the street lamp outside, I saw it. A figure standing in the doorway. Its face was my face, but wrong. The eyes were sunken and black. The skin stretched tight over bones that jutted out at unnatural angles. It smiled that same slow, deliberate smile, teeth too sharp, too many. I froze, paralyzed with fear. It stepped into the room, its movements jerky, unnatural, like a marionette with tangled strings. It stopped at the foot of my bed, its head cocked to one side as if studying me. Then it spoke. Its voice wasn't a voice. It was a low, guttural whisper that scraped against my ears like nails on glass. It said only one word, "Come." I don't remember much after that, just flashes. The feeling of cold, wet hands grabbing my ankles, being dragged across the floor toward the bathroom. The mirror's surface writhing, pulsating like a living thing. My own reflection staring down at me as I was pulled into the glass, its smile stretching wider and wider until it split its face in two. I woke up on the bathroom floor, the mirror perfectly intact, my reflection staring back like nothing had happened. But I knew better. My reflection wasn't mine anymore. It blinked when I didn't. It moved when I was still. It smiled when I screamed. Now, every time I look in a mirror, I wonder if it's waiting for me to slip up, to stare too long, to let my guard down. And I wonder if it ever will. Have you ever felt like your reflection wasn't quite right? Like it had a life of its own? What would you do if one day it stopped following your movements? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, because who knows, maybe your reflection is watching you right now.